welcome back to Casual Opinions here. I am Zach Kellner, straight out of a nap from like 10 minutes ago, just fresh off the couch there. I fell asleep in a sunbeam like Pierce Hawthorne, except maybe not quite as adorable. We're joined today, everybody else. This is maybe bad podcast etiquette. I think you're supposed to introduce everybody else before you introduce yourself.
I
But
don't care.
we've got old Bailey Deal,
Cool.
Cinema Senpai, Birdman 142, Billy Bonkers,
Booyah!
Indiana Bones, Corey Norwood,
The legendary.
Patchy the Pirate. I don't know. A man of many names.
I was literally about to say a man of many names.
Bailey Deal. And then we have a man of just one name. It's just Caleb. Caleb Kellner. Also, he probably has some other names here. Creator of
Cicada, Link 488, whatever you want to call me.
Cicada 488, Link 6969.
Almost.
Out of all the names that you listed off
K-Swag.
for me,
K-Swag.
K-Swag is classic. I mean, out of all the names you listed off for me, you left out Movie Daddy, which is like the most online present name for me.
I said Cinema Senpai.
You said Cinema Senpai. Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
That's yours. Not
I like
mine.
that one. I like that one. That's
I
a good
like
one.
it too. I might use that for my backup account or something.
Co-opt it. But yeah, here we are, the three of us here back again, on a bit of a Marvel train here. I guess it'll be. Did we do Marvel last week? Yeah, right? No.
I don't even remember what we did last week.
We
Jesus,
did
I don't
Sonic
either.
versus
Oh,
Batman.
we
did Sonic
Right
versus
picture
Batman.
of Sonic staring.
It's
at
right in
Batman.
front of me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see that too.
Well, we're beginning a what is sure to be a 3-week stretch of Marvel here. Today we're gonna just do the very broad top 10 Marvel projects, which we'll talk about a little bit here in a second. So next week probably Moon Knight finale, and then after that it's probably Multiverse of Madness, which is looking to be pretty interesting. I'm sure it'll be very good.
What day is that supposed to come out?
Is it
This Friday?
Is it this Friday?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
This Friday? Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's coming up.
6th or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to go see that.
Yeah, I've already seen. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there were spoilers. I'm not going to say what they are, but
I swear
they
to
had a
God,
you're
TV
s-
spot.
Your spoilers, man.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Yeah, I literally stumbled upon this like everyone else. There was a TV spot where they showed like a bunch of cameos, and it's like, what? And then they pulled the TV spot, I think, but people already like screen shared it and saved it to their phones, their drives, and they've just been sharing it like crazy. So now it's just kind of like someone at Marvel definitely lost their job for approving that.
I might have seen some of those actually on Twitter. I think I probably scrolled past a couple of those.
Like they released a clip from the movie that everyone's dogging on because, oh, there's a continuity error. The same guy with the suitcase runs past Doctor Strange in every shot. And I'm like, is that a bad thing these days? Because a continuity error like that back like a couple of years ago would have been like a fun thing to notice. But now it's like, oh, this movie is just it's cost so much money and it's so stupid that they would overlook this detail. It's like, it's Sam Raimi. That literally happens in all of the Spider-Man movies that he directed.
Yeah.
And
Also,
it happens in every movie.
it's the Multiverse of Madness, so what if it's just a bunch of fucking
That's what I was
going
gonna
to
say. I was gonna say,
That's
well,
what
he's
someone else
the time dude. I was like, maybe he's just going back in time.
Yeah.
The guy is coming to bargain. He just keeps
Right.
He's like, Doctor Strange have come to bargain, huh?
That'll be fun. Moon Knight will be fun. The last 2 episodes I think have been 2 of the best. But we'll talk more about that as we get going. The Moon Knight meter, Moon Knight calculator
Has not moved.
It hasn't. There was maybe five seconds of Moon Knight in episode 5.
Was
and
there?
0
I don't even
seconds in
remember
episode
seeing
4.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
you see like
country.
essentially the origin of Moon Knight.
Oh, right, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah,
There's no action. It's just like him putting the suit on.
yeah.
Yeah. Then today, we're gonna get into the top 10 Marvel projects. For this, we did not really. We left it probably intentionally vague. It's not specifically MCU projects, so it's anything Marvel. I'm gonna venture out on a leg and assume this is all gonna be fairly recent stuff. We didn't like put a timeline on it. And also, I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that we're probably not gonna have comic book picks in here because I don't think any of us really read a whole hell of a lot of the comics. But
Nope.
if there are, then more power to it. I just know that
Nada.
I don't have any on mine. So this would constitute movies, TV shows, video games, anything with a Marvel logo slapped onto it here. So not a like a definitive MCU ranking per se.
Right.
Although I will confess that mine is pretty top heavy on MCU stuff here personally.
It's 90% of what Marvel is.
It's true, at least 90% of good Marvel at least.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll get going on that. We'll just go 10-1 here. I think we're gonna go Bailey first. Caleb, you want to go second? Or you want to go last?
It's up to you. I'll go second.
All right, I'll round out the end then. So,
All right.
Bailey, you get started on your 10 whenever you are shreddy.
Cool.
That wasn't me.
I did the. Yeah, no, that wasn't the sound.
It actually sounded every single time you say it.
Right. So in my Marvel ranking, I struggled with my number 10 pick because I'll do an honorable mention right here. I wanted to put a song in this part, and that would be Avengers End Game Portals. I think out of all of the music in the MCU, I think Portals is just one of the most iconic songs that really anything Marvel has ever like put to the screen. It's just epic. It's a finality, so I love it. But the thing I decided to put in number 10 is the classic Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. So out of the like tens and tens, maybe even like 100 like Marvel films and TV shows that are out there right now, it cracked the top 10 for a reason. It's some of the best. It's fantastic. It inspired a lot of what was to come from the MCU and even comics in general. You go back, you rewatch it, you're going to have a good time any which way, and you can watch this over and over again, and you'll spot those like continuity errors like we talked about earlier. And it's fun. It's a fun movie to go back to. And just really good. Good Spider-Man. So yeah, there you are.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, if it's on to me then, I just actually had to edit my list a little bit because I'm not going to lie, I forgot about a few movies there. And once you started talking, I started to remember things. So I shoved off, I originally had, Zach, I don't know if you remember, I think it was based off the first Hulk movie, but it was just called Hulk for the GameCube.
The video game.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was actually a really fun game. That movie
was pretty
is
fun.
obviously a straight dumpster fire, but that game was pretty fun. But that's not what's on there anymore. I bumped that, and I actually have another video game, which I've talked about before, is Spider-Man 1 for the GameCube as well. Same era, kind of. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. This is the one where I think I don't know if you have to beat the game first, but you can actually play through as the Green Goblin, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And you can you can like look like Mary Jane, I think Zach said, or look like the Shocker as Spider-Man. It's just like, it was a fun game. I played it a lot growing up, so that's my number
game.
10.
Solid choice.
Thank you.
I'll say I got a shitload of Spider-Man on my list. Also, just
Would you say he's
spoiler.
your favorite superhero? It seems like he might be.
I think so. I mean, at least as far as Marvel superheroes go,
I was about to say
he's
my favorite Marvel hero. So,
so he will be heavily represented on this list. I almost had Spider-Man.
I was about to say my list too. I've got quite a few Spider-Man things.
I almost had Spider-Man 2 as my number 10, but it's probably like my just missed here. And I put on number 10, I put Avengers End Game at number 10 for me here. I guess the last of the Infinity Saga, the end of the Infinity Saga. Um, I think one thing that's it's missing Spider-Man for a lot of it, which is obviously built into the plot there. But it has a lot of like the when you think of like the all-time Marvel moments, like if we ever did like a list of like best moments or best scenes in Marvel, this one's probably got more than any other movie. And even though it's not my favorite movie, it's got like a lot of those great moments. The Cap and the Hammer, Avengers Assemble, the Robert Downey Jr. I Am Iron Man snap. There's just a lot of awesome stuff in the movie. I think personally I like Infinity War more, so there's another spoiler alert. But this one's really good too. It's one that you can go back to a lot, and it's one of the ones that has like the biggest like sort of theater moment to it. I've said a lot, I'd rather watch something at home than in a theater. This is one where it's like you definitely wanted to see it in theater, and it's probably not quite as exciting, watching it at home, but still good, still holds up all the time anyway, though.
Do you think if a theater were to re-release Endgame for like a retro screening, do you think it would be successful, or do you think people would probably not show up, at least at this point in time? Like maybe 10 years down the line, it might do better. But like if they were to do a quote unquote retro screening today, do you think people would show up?
I wouldn't go.
I mean, I probably wouldn't go because it'd probably be expensive, but I think it kind of depends on where you do it at in the country, big time. Like if they did it here where we live, it probably wouldn't be that crazy, but somewhere else, I think a lot of people would be going to that.
Because I remember whenever I worked at the box office and they re-released it to try to beat Avatar. Because Avatar, they were doing the back and forth thing, weren't they? Where it was like, it beat Avatar as like highest grossing film, and then Avatar re-released in China, and then they re-released Avengers End Game like a few weeks after that to try to beat it again, but then it just kind of sort of didn't. So it's still sitting in second place, I think. So
Man, screw Avatar.
I'm upset because Avatar is such a mediocre movie.
That's giving it too much credit. That's giving it too much credit. Mediocre.
It's mid. It's mid at best. Avatar.
Did you see the third title that they have for the Avatar series?
Stupid.
No,
They're all stupid.
They're all stupid. But the third
I'm
one's called like
them.
Avatar, the Seed Bearer, which makes me go, is this one going to be like a rated X?
Oh yeah, they're just gonna be banging.
Pulp film, yeah.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
God,
Yeah,
Avatar.
we got off topic there.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll be
goodness.
hearing about
cares about
Avatar
Avatar.
for the next 15 years before we actually get the
God
next
Christ,
movie.
yeah, it's gonna be terrible.
Nobody cares.
All right, back around then to 9 for Bailey.
Yeah, Bailey.
Yep. My number 9 is the best live-action Spider-Man. Spider-Man No Way Home. Still, it's top 10. It's a little lower because I just think the quality of the other films are just a little more up on it, but it's still, like, I'll go back and rewatch this anytime and still have a good time. It was just good experience all around. I mean, like, people have talked about this to death. We've already reached that point of time where people on Twitter are like, actually, Spider-Man No Way Home is not that great. And I'm like, it is. Just back away from it. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But like, to say it's not a good film at all, I think you're not giving it the credit that it really deserves. So
Yeah, that's loser film bro take.
yeah.
There's so many chuds that just like, oh, Marvel is so mainstream, it has to be bad. It's like, get a life, loser.
Well, no, that's exactly what's going on with like the Doctor Strange thing. Is like they're almost nitpicking common background technical mistakes in every film that has ever been made, but just because it's Marvel and under the Disney banner, they're like, "Oh, how could they miss that detail? That's so dumb. This film is going to be terrible." And it's like that you probably didn't even notice it the first time you watched it.
Yeah.
Which is a sign of like, oh, this is something of quality if you don't get distracted by little details in the background that could be off. I don't know. It's just whatever. No Way Home is good. That's my quote-unquote hot take.
It is good.
Is that a hot take? I mean, I guess it's kind
No,
of.
it's not.
I was gonna say it just depends on where you're asking.
Yeah, it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Next for me, my number 9 is Age of Ultron. I loved Age of Ultron. I know a lot of people.
There's the hot take
that
of
is-
the day.
Yeah,
I was about to say that one is.
that's fine.
Oof.
That's fine. I know a lot of people don't like it. I really thought Ultron was a really cool villain. And is the
He
guy's
is.
name James
Yeah.
Spader?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was like I didn't really know him too much before then, and I kind of knew who he was, but like the voice is just perfect. Oh, everything about that movie it was a very well put together movie, at least I thought. And I was a
will
big
say my
Quicksilver
hot take
guy, and
is-
so I was a little upset when they killed him. But
Yeah.
Right.
it
Do you want to hear my
spawned a lot
hot
of
take
things.
regarding Age of Ultron?
go for it.
I think between the original Avengers and Age of Ultron, if I were to watch one again, I think I would watch Age of Ultron again. I'd pick that before I pick Avengers. Avengers, I think, is a better movie, but I'd much rather watch Age of Ultron. I don't know, like, does anyone else feel that way?
I mean, I like.
Um,
I don't know. I don't know. They're pretty
don't
split for
know
me.
if
I like them both.
I do think, and this is another sort of, Marvel equals lowbrow cinema, the film bros of the world. I think Age of Ultron is dumped on a lot, and I think even Thor Dark World is dumped on a lot. And over the last summer, I did like the full Marvel rewatch, and I was like, shit, those aren't bad.
No.
Those aren't bad. They're solid. They're fine. They're
Especially
good,
Thor 2. Yeah, I didn't watch Thor 2 in theaters. I watched it like on Redbox after it came out, and I watched it and I was like, okay, that wasn't that great, and then that kind of stuck for a long time. And then when I had finally rewatched, I think everything after the Infinity Saga ended, and I watched Thor 2, I was like, that's actually not that bad. I didn't hate that.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I always liked Ultron. That's why it's my number 9. I think the Ultron villain himself is cool. You got that introduced Quicksilver, who instantly died. You got Scarlet Witch. You got Vision. It was a great movie. Great movie.
Rip Quicksilver.
Right. He should have.
Ralph
whatever.
Boner.
Ralph Boner.
So yeah, I think it is I think it's a good movie. My number 9 is I've got Captain America: Civil War, which I always everybody always says, oh, it's got Captain America in the title, so they call it the Captain America trilogy, right? Where you've got First Avenger, Winter Soldier, and Civil War. But to me, Captain America: Civil War didn't really feel like a Captain America movie. Did you just fall out of your chair?
Hello?
Maybe
Hello?
Caleb is deceased. I don't know. I'll keep talking here. It's I guess technically it is
Say
one
something.
of there was like a collapsing sound, and then you just like disappeared for a minute.
Really? I muted myself to turn on my fan real quick. I don't know what that was.
I don't know.
Okay.
No, but yeah, it's the third Captain America movie, but to me, it's just like a mini Avengers movie.
Right.
In my eyes, at least, I think of it more as an Avengers movie than as a Captain America movie. Personally, I think a lot of people say that Winter Soldier is the best Captain America movie, and it's a pretty good movie. But I just find myself enjoying Civil War more.
I did too.
If I'm gonna go back and watch any of the 3 Captain America movies, this is probably the one that I would end up watching.
I'm in agreement there, yeah.
More often than not. The airport fight scene is awesome. The ending scene where you have that 3-way fight between Iron Man and Captain America and Winter Soldier there. Iron Man I was Team Iron Man the whole time. Captain America is a bad friend to Tony, but it's a good movie. You get to see Black Panther, you get the debut of Spider-Man in there as well. So it's great. That's my number 9 there, Civil War. for those reasons there. But yes, Iron Man was in the right. Captain America was a bad friend.
Throwback to that Civil War meme we made all those years
that
ago.
Was a classic.
That was a classic.
Oh yeah,
That's a good one.
we did a meme of employees at the palace
Yeah.
like looking at each other, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Classic
Who
stuff.
were the ones at the front again? Was it
Hell, if I haven't seen that thing in years.
right? I'm trying to
it's
think
on
like
my
who was the
phone
Iron Man
somewhere.
and who was the Cap.
Well, we did the I thought
It was funny putting up the posters of Captain America Civil War right next to like Batman v Superman, because it's like basically the same poster except one is clearly cooler than the other.
absolutely.
Okay. Sorry. But we'll move on to good things again.
Number 8.
That was a burn to Batman v Superman. Number 8 for me is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy. I think this one is the one that solidified my love for the MCU. I just, went into it and was like, let's just watch this dumb little superhero movie. And then I left going, okay, that was actually really good.
That was a really
I wasn't
normal
expecting
guy.
it. I'm a Marvel dude now. What the hell? So yeah, I think that happened for a lot of people. Like my little sister, she didn't watch any of the MCU movies, like sit down and watch them and take in everything. But then she heard the music for Guardians of the Galaxy and was like, I need to watch this movie. She watched the movie, and now she is just like sped run the whole of the MCU and is like all caught up and fully immersed in it. And I'm like, I think other people have done the same thing. And I think a lot of people, Guardians of the Galaxy was their gateway drug to the MCU. So yeah, it's number 8 for me.
Nice.
I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's like the third best movie with the word Guardians in the title. So,
oh, are you talking about Guardians of Ga'Hoole and Rise of the Guardians?
those are the exact 2 movies.
I don't even
Guardians
know
of
what those are.
Ga'Hoole. Guardians of Ga'Hoole is about owls that like fight each other, and then
It's a Zack Snyder movie, isn't it? Like he produced it.
Yeah,
something?
and then Rise of the Guardians is basically the Avengers, but with fairy tales instead. So it's like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Dude, it's
That
so
one's
freaking good. That's so good.
I'll just have to take your guys' word for it.
Watch it. Don't take my word for it.
Next for me, my number 8 is Loki, the hit Disney Channel
Caleb,
original
you're getting a little
show.
fuzzy.
I'm Loki, and you're watching Disney.
Boop 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 boop.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was probably one of the better of the shows, personally, but it's obviously not my favorite of all the shows. But I really liked what it did. I thought it was very different. This is like it really broke. I don't know if I'm saying this right. It like broke the MCU. Like it just like changed everything for me. Like the whole, is it the TVA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole Time Patrol thing with all the different Infinity Stones. I mean, it put everything on such a bigger spectrum for me. It changed the MCU and how seriously I took it, and I really enjoyed watching it and just seeing where that show went. And what is her name? Sylvie, the female Loki. That's cool. Owen Wilson. We gotta love Owen Wilson.
Wow.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I don't know. I don't really want to keep talking about Loki anymore, but yeah.
So what would you rate it? Would you rate it a wow out of 10?
Yeah, probably a wow out of 10.
Good.
Yeah.
I almost had Loki in here also.
It's a good
that
show.
was one where, yeah, no, it is really good. I've liked it.
I can't remember. Did they say they're doing a season 2? Is that right?
Yeah, season 2.
I mean, they definitely set it up for that.
It's my favorite of the shows for sure.
Almost.
It is for me. But we did our TV show rankings at one point too, or our Phase 4 or whatever. I had that pretty high up on mine.
Yeah.
Number 7 for me. I've got. Or no, wait, number 8.
I was
right?
gonna say, I thought it was 8. Yeah.
Okay, number 8. Number 8, I got Black Panther on my list. I thought it was just an awesome movie. It's got one of my all-time favorite villains in Marvel, Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger, based his design off of Vegeta, by the way,
No,
if you were
he did not.
not familiar with that.
He didn't.
Awesome
Fact check that.
character, super cool performance as well. Like he killed it there. Definitely disappointed that we didn't get that he ended up dying. You know, that's kind of a bummer because I think he could have been a very good villain. Obviously, they couldn't see the future. You know, with Chadwick Boseman passing away, but I think there could have been more roles for Killmonger to perhaps fill in. You know, in his absence, there he was in the What If show, which I thought was cool too.
Mm-hmm. That was really cool.
But I just thought it was neat. You know, it was a historic moment for the MCU, also with its first black superhero headlining a movie at this point. So obviously, it was really culturally relevant in that regards too. And it was Ryan Coogler, I think, directed it, and he does all the freaking Creed movies, which are always kick ass. So it was just awesome. It was a lot of fun. I'm curious. Maybe curious is probably the best word for the sequel, the Wakanda Forever sequel, because I've no idea which way they're going. But I think just on the back of like Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan here, this was just like such a great movie, great performance. Got to see a whole new side of the MCU, and obviously it sets up a lot for the future as well. So I'm excited to see where we go from there. But yeah, that's my number 8.
Yeah, that movie was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. It's not good if you ask Terry, though.
Right. Killmonger got screwed. I'll say that every time. He got screwed.
Yeah, it's a bummer. That's a top 2 Marvel villain.
Yeah, he was so good. So good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good.
All right. I'm just like, what else is there to add? My number 7 is probably my biggest hot take on my list, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah, you're one of those weird people, aren't you?
Why is that a hot take? I like that movie.
Because it's not as good as the first one.
I like it better than the first one.
Okay, I just say I think I maybe like the second one better than the first one too. I'm on your side, Bailey.
Yeah.
I liked Ego. Ego was really cool.
Ego is so fascinating to me. Like, Ronan the Accuser kind of sort of drags down the first one for me. Like, I always love a classic villain is evil just for the sake of being evil. But Ego had that connection to the theme, to the characters, and it's all about, relationships within a family, fatherhood. It's just, it's daddy issues, the movie. It's just, I don't know. It's so good and it feels so personal. And you watch Peacemaker and you go, that's Daddy Issues, the TV show. James Gunn, are you okay?
Yeah, I kind of forgot they were the same. Yeah.
Right. I like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 better than Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And it took me a while to come around on that because I watched it initially. I didn't exactly like it. And then I did my rewatch. And I was just like, Guardians is still like great MCU. But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I felt more for it. And it was, one of the first MCU films to kill off a significant character and actually keep them dead as far as we know. So I'm like, cool. I'm fine with that. So yeah, that's my number 7, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah, cool. That's good. For the longest time I didn't know if I liked the first one or the second one more, but what made me realize I liked the second one more is when I was remembering both of the movies, I legit could not even remember who the bad guy of the first one was. The Ronin guy, completely forgot he existed until I rewatched Captain Marvel and was like, oh shit, that's the guy from Guardians. And I was like, okay, I guess I clearly like the second one more because I remember more about it, but I don't know.
I still prefer the first one, but
that's fine. We on my 7, is that right?
Number 7.
All right, so this might be a hot take for you guys too, but I've got the first Captain America as my number 7.
Yeah.
No boos or hisses or anything.
I'm not gonna boo or hiss, but I always bring this up whenever somebody mentions Captain America: First Avenger. Only Marvel movie I fell asleep in.
I fell asleep. Well, I no Zach Reed fell asleep in Winter Soldier, I believe.
Swag.
Right. But no, I like this one. I don't know if you knew, but the Red Skull was actually his costume was modeled after Piccolo. That's really cool. That's a fun fact.
Don't fuck
You
with
didn't know
me.
that? What, you can't tell? It looks exactly like Piccolo.
Don't try to be that guy, Caleb.
I'm that guy.
He's sexy. He's a sexy Piccolo.
They tried to make him sexier.
They try to make him sexy.
I don't know. I like the World War II setting. I think that's kind of what does it for me. I love the World War II stuff and that movie being set in there. And he's the first Avenger. It's kind of like, in a way, obviously they've had so many things that kind of imply that all of this shit, like obviously the Eternals, obviously they're not Avengers, but that shit happened before Captain America. But he is still, right. he's the MCU birthplace for me, kind of. Obviously, yeah. Iron Man, I think, was like the first movie to come out. But I don't know. I like to watch it chronologically, and I always start with that movie, and it's awesome. So, Captain America.
Yeah, the chronological order is pretty fun.
It's super fun.
You jump around a good bit, because you go freaking Captain America, and then it's Captain Marvel.
Yep.
And then I think it's Iron Man is maybe the order for that. But yeah, it's fun doing chronological order. My number 7 is Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming, the first of the Tom Holland films. I'm a huge Tom Holland supporter. Just my kind of dude there. I said this pretty much in the when we did our Spider-Man rankings as well. This could, depending on the day, and I left it to stay true to my previous Spider-Man rankings, but I think I could flip this one with Spider-Verse. When we did the Spider-Man rankings, I had this at 3, and I had Spider-Verse at 2. But I just thought it was great. Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man. If you say something else, you're wrong. He's got the right blend of sort of dorky and smart, and he's cute and he's funny. He actually looks like a high schooler there.
He looks like a little twink.
Yeah, which is exactly what Peter Parker should be. Not a muscle-bound freak.
Not an edgy skater boy.
Not an edgy skater boy or a hipster photographer guy. No. Whatever. I really love Peter. I like the Iron Man element. A lot of people joke like, "Oh, it's not even a Spider-Man movie because Iron Man's in there." Just like, okay, it's just a Spider-Man in the MCU. It fits with the world. It fits with the universe. I like the Iron Man presence in there. That might be one of the reasons why I like it as much as I do, because I love Iron Man as well. I thought Vulture is a really good villain.
Yeah, he's cool.
Of course, it also has Donald Glover in it, and anything that has Donald Glover in it gets bonus points.
Do you think we're ever going to see more of that character? Probably not.
I don't think so.
It's sad.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer, but yeah, it's just it's a fun movie. It's a nice introduction to Spider-Man without having to see Uncle Ben get popped. We've seen that before. So it was just kind of like a nice, fresh addition and a nice fresh take on Spider-Man. So I had a good time, and Spider-Man will be on my list again as we move along here.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Okay, well, here's my number 6, which this is my last MCU entry.
Of course, I knew it.
What?
To the surprise of no one. I told you, Caleb. I told you Bailey would do this.
That my top 5 would not be MCU films, yeah. But
my number hear those films. Does that mean a show could make it?
No, I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna do like. Well, no, he's gonna do. Exactly what we thought he was gonna do. He's the film bro we were talking about earlier. Yeah.
This is still a top 10 list. These are all still amazing. They cracked the
Sounds
top
like
10
you hate
out of
everything.
115
he does.
projects. Possibly.
He's a Loki hater, and
he's a DCU enthusiast.
It's true.
He likes the DCU.
Yeah. Not really.
James Gunn, Peacemaker. James Gunn, stick your gun in my mouth.
Jesus, what the fuck? Okay, my number 6. It's Infinity War. Just, I feel like that was the Avengers film that we were building up to, and then it just sidelines you with the ending of just everyone dying, and you're just kind of sitting there.
God damn.
Oh, spoilers.
Jesus Christ, Bailey.
What were you thinking? I can't watch this movie now.
Oh, yeah, this film that's been out for 3-4 years now. Ugh. But, yeah, so everyone dies, and the theater went quiet, and it just stayed quiet. And I remember, like, no one moved or talked throughout, like, the entire credit sequence, which was so weird. Because usually, like, as soon as the credits start rolling, people are like, wow, that was pretty cool, right? Oh, we're going to talk amongst ourselves. No one moved.
Am I wrong? Like, did they didn't have an end credit scene on that one, right? It just ended,
They
right?
did. It was the Nick Fury disappearing and the calling Captain Marvel.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
So, yeah. So that was that. It's fantastic. Thanos being the pseudo protagonist is such a cool choice. I don't know. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. Everything about the movie just hits all the right marks, and it just feels kind of like an Empire Strikes Back, everything sucks and we lost kind of scenario. So then you get End Game, and you have, like, build up for that. I remember selling a ticket to an old lady to End Game, and she's like, she actually said, I hope they cut his head off, like, before she went in. And I was like, oh, well, okay. Knowing full well that, like, he gets his head chopped off at the beginning of that film. But Thanos is cool, and Infinity War is his movie. Good.
Big time. I agree.
That's my 6.
Yeah, my 6 is Falcon and Winter Soldier, the show.
To the surprise of no one.
I figured you guys would have thought I'd have that at number 1 or something like that, but I'm being realistic here. It's my 6, I guess, is what we said. Falcon and Winter Soldier, dude. I don't know why, dude. I don't know why, but I vibed with that show the entire way through. Like, oh, dude, I got goosebumps watching that show. Every week I'd have to wait, a week for the next episode. It sucked. But every time it came out, whatever day of the week that was, I was so excited. And say what you will, spread all your freaking stupid lies about him being racist. He is a badass character, that John Walker. Oh my God, dude. I legit got chills all up my body when he was smashing that dude's head in with the shield. Just bam, bam. And like that last scene that they show him where it's just kind of like that upward angle. He's got the bloody shield and he's looking all serious. I was like, that dude is scary as fuck. That was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome. I'm not idolizing him. I'm not supporting his behavior. I'm saying he's an awesome, badass, well-written character. It's so cool. That's how you know they're a good actor, all right? When people fucking like hate him, like, oh, I hate that character so much because he played that character so goddamn well. Something Russell is his name. He's so good. So good. Yeah. I love, Falcon and Winter Soldier is my 6. I don't even need to talk. We've talked about it plenty. I love that show.
It's true. We have.
So, yeah, that's my 6. Let's go.
Old John Hate Crime Walker.
Shut up.
Okay. Well, my number 6 doesn't have any hate crimes in it, unless you hate large, bald men. And my number 6 is Spider-Man Into the Spoderverse, the animated Spoderman movie. As I stated at the top, Spider-Man is almost certainly my favorite Marvel hero here. So a lot of my list here, I was just kind of photocopying over our Spider-Man rankings list. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is awesome. It's got a good soundtrack, right? Everybody loves Post Malone. It's got a touching story. It's got really beautiful animation. Miles is a great version of Spider-Man as well. So it hits everything that you want in a comic book movie, I think, especially like for an origin story. And yeah, it's fun. I look forward to 2028 when Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse comes out finally. And then I look forward to 2032 when Spider-Man tap dances through the Spider-Verse comes out. Those movies are getting bumped. They're going to probably get the Avatar treatment at this point. But yeah, it'll be good. It's a great movie, and it's one that you can just kind of put on and or jump in the middle of and still have a fun time with.
Yeah, it's a solid mediocre movie.
That's your most controversial take, Caleb.
I know. I don't think I've seen a single person feel the same way I do about that movie.
Yeah, no, I think you're literally alone in the world.
I think I am. It's crazy to me. I just did not really care for that movie.
You're an interesting fellow. It has Spider Ham in it, man. Spider Ham.
John Mulaney.
Yeah, John Mulaney. I'm excited for the Rescue Rangers movie coming out. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Let's go.
That could be good.
Woo.
Could be good.
I bet. Let's do an episode called Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers versus the Batman.
There's all these movies versus the Batman. No, when Avatar 2 finally comes out, we should just all not see that movie and review movies against it. And just... We haven't even seen the movie, but we can tell you.
We haven't seen the movie. However, I can confidently say that Sharknado 3 is vastly superior.
Avatar 2 versus the Batman.
Oh, man.
Cool.
So yeah, that was my 6, I believe.
We are halfway through, ladies and gentlemen. My number 5 is... Let's see, hold on. The first X-Men movie on my list.
Ooh.
That is X-Men First Class.
That's a good one. I think that might be my favorite one.
Yeah, right? Like,
and I'll be honest, I used to hate that movie. When that movie first came out, I didn't like the way they made the Beast look in live action. I thought it just looked bad, but...
I think people have had issues with Beast's look in general, especially with these prequel First Class series movies. But I mean, like, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't really care anymore. I'm not like obsessed with the X-Men, but it's all fine.
Right. I think just this one is good. Like, all the X-Men movies deviate from, I guess, their comic accuracy, this and that, and there are issues here and there with stuff. This is the infamous film that everyone says, did we all forget about that time that they killed off the character who can't be killed? Which is like the topic of the week on superhero Twitter every 2 weeks.
What did they do in that movie?
Keep talking about it.
Who did they kill?
Yeah, his name was Darwin. He's basically an X-Men who, no matter what happens to him,
he adapts?
He immediately adapts.
Yeah, so, I do remember killing him.
In the comics, I believe there was like a universe-ending event, and he was the only survivor. So he just wound up like floating in this void because he managed to like adapt and survive whatever it was. So it's like him just receiving radiation and having it like go down his mouth and like into his body. He would have adapted and survived it.
Yeah,
but they killed him anyway.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So yeah, it's like stuff like that. I understand people getting pissed off at, but just overall, it's a good story, especially for Charles and Eric. You know, Professor X and Magneto. Just so many satisfying moments, and like lifting the submarine is so much cooler than Magneto lifting the Golden Gate Bridge in X-Men 3 or whatever. Like, it had some character and story resonance and finality. I love this movie, man. And they also only had Wolverine as a quick cameo. Nice and fun.
Yeah, I do remember
And then he's not in the rest of the movie. They don't focus on him. So, good.
Yeah.
That's my number 5.
Yeah, no, the X movie, like, yeah, I was never an X-Men fan. I never really watched them, but last year I think I went through all of them in a quote unquote chronological order because the X-Men universe is just as filleted as the
disaster.
DCU. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but I do actually enjoy all of them. None of them made it on my list. I did think about putting them on my list, but so I'm only working with 10 here, and I can't say that any of them are quite there. But that being said, is this 5,
Good
right?
transition. Yeah, number 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. My 5 is Guardians 2. I liked Guardians 2. Me and Bailey kind of already vibed on that already. I won't go too much into it, but I really liked Ego. That one scene that always sticks out for me, like when him and Chris Pratt, normal, average plumber dude, he's talking. He's like, "It's a shame I had to put that cancer in your mom," and then it just like snaps to Chris's face, and I'm just like, "Whoa, shit!" And then he just like starts pumping them full of lasers. I was like, "Dude, that's just a scene that always stands out in that movie to me." I think it's a fun thing to watch. But yeah, Guardians 2, great movie.
Guys got some interesting choices today. Days like this where I feel like I'm the only regular person. But
Okay, shut up, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's great, man. And speaking of Spider-Man, back to back here. Spider-Man on my number 5 here. I got Spider-Man No Way Home, the most recent iteration of Spider-Man there. Obviously, at this point, you notice a little bit of a trend. Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man, and we get to see the other less good Spider-Man, but still good Spider-Man show up in here, which is, an unrivaled level of nostalgia. While maybe I don't necessarily love all those other Spider-Man movies, I don't think they're bad, except for Spider-Man
Sounds like you
3.
hate them.
Except for Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
Only Spider-Man 3 is bad. Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2 are all good.
You're dumb. You're stupid.
This is great because what they do here is they go, hey, you know how we thought that this Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Homecoming was so great because, we didn't see Uncle Ben die. It wasn't really an origin story movie. You still kind of get to see this already established Spider-Man, right? And it's like, oh, this is such a refreshing take, as I mentioned earlier. And then they go, yeet, and they pull the rug out from under you in this one, and it turns out that like this Spider-Man trilogy was just like a 3-movie origin story. Like, yes, he was Spider-Man, but these 3 movies combined make up his real origin story. I thought it was really neat how they did that. Some people were upset with Aunt May dying in the movie, but I thought that this was just a perfect capstone, right? And we're supposed to be getting more from Spider-Man here, and it's possible that we're getting a Spider-Man that's much more closer. Poor grammatical structure there. Much closer to the like a normal Spider-Man's roots that we saw, right? The other 2 Spider-Men in this movie had no Avengers. They had no Stark tech. And it's possible that we get something like that. There's super high highs in here. It's very emotional. They can also just like punch you in the soul and punch you in the heart. It's great. It's got some of the greatest moments I mentioned with Avengers End Game, right? If we just did a list of like top MCU moments, this one's churning out a lot of those too. Like if we did top 10 MCU moments, I think Spider-Man No Way Home and Avengers End Game are going to crowd the field a lot there. So great movie, very relevant to the movies coming up as well, which kind of maybe gives it a little bit of a recency bias, but I think it's awesome. The superior Spider-Man movie. That's my number 5.
Well, speaking of Aunt May dying, my number 4 is the Spider-Man PS4 game.
Oh, like the kind of newest one, like that big Spider-Man game?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Spider-Man 2018.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's good. It's good. I think, like, honestly, out of all the Spider-Man that we have seen, I think this one is, like, the most perfect comic to visual media, like film or video game adaptation that we have seen. It's a lot of fun. It won Game of the Year, right?
I believe so. If it didn't, it should have.
Yeah. Well, if it did, there's a reason.
Fortnite beat it out.
No, it didn't, because it was going up against the greatest game. No.
Oh, God of War.
It was going up against the greatest game of all time, God of War 2018. So.
I mean, that was a good year, though.
Yeah, both those games stood no chance against Among Us.
2018 beat ass. Don't get Bailey too hyped up on Among Us. We know how he feels about that.
Oh. I just like making jokes. I don't like the game.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, Spider-Man game, it's great. I really like. I think my favorite villain of all time has got to be Otto Octavius, simply because this game just broke my heart for him. Anyway, yeah, I mean, not much more to say about it. If you haven't played it, play it. It's good.
Yeah, regretfully so, I have not beaten that game, but it is very fun.
Oh,
Like
sorry, I spoiled Aunt May dies.
oh, I don't care. I mean, honestly, I don't even remember you saying that, so it's fine.
Oh,
But shit. Oh, so were you done talking? Sorry.
yeah, my number 4 is done.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I didn't beat that game, but my number 4, I guess, is what we're on, is the original Avengers. Yeah, I don't know. I really like that movie. Growing up, of course, when we were watching all those movies, that was like the culmination. Just like how End Game and Infinity War was, like we were building up to that movie, right? All the origin superhero movies, you had Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, and it was a great movie. And I also really like and appreciate. I don't know all the instances that they do it, but like Hawkeye comes to mind. I like when they have like callbacks and flashbacks to the events in New York and stuff like that. It helps build the movie. Now when I watch this first Avengers movie, I'm gonna always be thinking about what's her face from Hawkeye, watching Hawkeye kill all these people. It's just little things like that I think that they sprinkle in there to help build the universe, and they build it around this movie. They build it around the snap, even, or the blip, I guess is what they call it. I like those things like that, and I don't know. It's the OG Avengers movie. I really liked it. It was fun.
It is good. Yeah.
Is that where we first see Thanos? Like in credit scene or something like that?
In the
I
end
think-
credits, yeah.
Yeah.
Busted Thanos looking
Oh,
ugly.
fun fact. After I was done, I didn't know anything about the MCU, and I had seen all the previous films, and that was pretty much it. But my friend turned to me, and he went, "Do you know who that is?" And I went, "No." And he goes, "That's Red Skull." And so I went for like weeks and weeks and weeks thinking that Red Skull had been teleported by the Tesseract and was now going to be like the big bad guy that the Avengers would have to fight next.
Interesting.
How
Yeah, because
stupid
is that in reference to the fact that he looked a little red?
He looked a little red.
Yeah,
He's a busted,
he
yeah.
he looked weird, and I think he was voiced by somebody else. He wasn't voiced by what's his face.
Right. They use like a
Brolin.
practical, like actual prosthetic makeup thing on him instead of CGI.
Yeah,
They didn't do the CGI and voice stuff for him until Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah.
And this is exactly why we always say CGI is better than practical effects. Just is.
If it's good CGI, it's got to be good CGI though. There's some pretty bad CGI out there.
Yeah.
Sci-fi
That's
original
true.
movies.
No, those are great. Don't slander Sci-Fi Channel here.
Sorry.
My number 4 is the start of it all. Original Iron Man. That is one that I just like. I just love that movie. It's the first, venture into the MCU, and when it first came out, there was a lot of questions on whether or not that this would work because Robert Downey Jr. was sort of a liability at times, as a person during that day and age, or at least he had been in the past. So there was kind of some thoughts that maybe it would not hit, but I think it's safe to say that he was just absolutely perfect for the role, and
That role
absolutely,
whipped him into shape, I think.
yeah. I mean, he absolutely crushes it. Like this is
Yeah.
one of the best fits in the MCU, one of the best performances.
Could you argue that it's just like how people say, what's his face with Wolverine?
Hugh Jackman and
yeah,
Wolverine?
it's like nobody else
Yeah.
could play him, and people
It would be
honestly
hard.
don't want
Yeah,
him
I can't imagine. I can't think of anybody else who would be good, or as good. Or supposedly they were considering Tom Cruise
to. I had seen that, yeah.
for a
Tom
while
Cruise.
as well,
Yeah.
which I think is interesting here. But they just he kills it. He crushes it, and it's an awesome origin story for what is honestly a B-list superhero. I mean, growing up, nobody talked about Iron Man.
Yeah.
He was not a super popular guy, and they took he's not the most obscure character they've done stuff with, but they took a somewhat obscure character and just made this witty, fresh movie, and it set the MCU on the tracks to be what it is today. And I think even still today, as you know, witnessed by my list here, I think it's one of the best MCU films. You know, even freaking 15 years later, whatever we're going on now, I think it's still better than a lot of the other ones. So that's my number four. If this movie doesn't happen or if it's not good, then the rest of our lists probably don't exist. And everybody else has been trying to do something like it since.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Universal Monsters Cinematic Universe.
Oh, the Dark Universe.
Dark Universe.
Yeah. I wish.
I
wanted that to be a thing.
I'll tell you, the one universe I need to hit, man, is the John Wick Cinematic Universe.
That'll be cool. What's this ballerina thing about?
It's a movie. I don't know.
But we don't know about the character or anything. Like, I thought it was gonna be like Halle Berry's character.
No, it's a new character. It's just I think it's set in the world of John Wick.
Maybe there'll be tie-ins to the fourth John Wick. Who knows?
Perhaps need to get that going too.
Nice.
So that's my four. Iron Man.
Iron Man. I am Iron Man.
Good.
Iron Man.
Well, my number three is
Iron Fist.
Not that, but Daredevil.
Gross. Overrated.
Yeah.
You guys did watch all 3 seasons, right?
No, I didn't even finish the first episode. No.
Cool.
Completely real.
Oof.
Cool.
Oof. I think there's another hot take from Caleb is that the show is overrated after watching not even all of the first episode.
Bro, it was boring as
I will say Caleb is an expert of judging things that he hasn't seen, as noted in our DC rankings.
Yep.
Bro, I kind of have an act for it.
That is true. He did judge movies that he's never seen before above the Suicide Squad, which does make him an expert. So.
Haven't you always heard you judge a book by its cover, guys? Come on.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Daredevil is so highly regarded. It's, oh my God, Wilson Fisk in that show decapitates a man with a car door. And this is at a period of time, like, this was in production, I think, before the Disney buyout. So it's just kind of like, well, Disney now has this property where a man decapitates another man in a car door in an MCU canon show intended for babies to watch it. Great. I love it.
Does that mean Disney now owns Count Dooku getting his head chopped off?
Oh yeah, 100%.
100%. Also, they own that since they got like 20th Century Fox or whatever. You know what else that means they own? Dragon Ball Evolution.
Let's go.
Let's
Dragon Ball Universe. Let's go. The DBZU.
But yeah, I still think it's funny that with Daredevil moving to Disney Plus, they were like, all right, now we're going to roll out parental control for Disney Plus. Because this show is violent and has bad language that your kids may not want to be exposed to. So, there it is.
Well, now that they have parental controls, we can probably get more superheroes clapping cheeks on Disney Plus shows.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing we're
let's
missing.
Just say that does happen in the series. So.
Well, I just remember how groundbreaking it was when the Eternals got it on in the desert, in the sand, getting sand on their
I heard from
crevasses.
people saying, like...
Wait, there's a sex scene in the Eternals?
You watched the Eternals.
I did. I don't remember that.
It's PG-13. It's a very PG-13.
Between who?
Cersei and
Icarus.
Oh, like the main... I guess I didn't remember that.
Well, it's a very boring sex scene.
Huh.
Yeah.
And, you know.
It broke ground as the first sex scene in the MCU. But then I think back, I'm like, Iron Man jumped in bed with that reporter, and it was just like, whoa, very in your face.
Yeah, I remember being really little and kind of being like, I hope my parents don't realize I know what's going on. You know, like, I know what's happening.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, no, anyways, Daredevil, just one of the best. I'll leave it at that. If you haven't seen it already and you don't want to see it, then I guess don't watch it. but it's
you'll know about 15 minutes into that first episode if you want to keep watching or not.
I admittedly have seen smatterings of Daredevil. Not enough for me to be like, oh, I've gotta go watch this. Let's go. But yeah, it's cool that they're in the, they got they carried those same actors over into the MCU now. With the old big buddy there playing Wilson Fisk, and then obviously you get Charlie Cox's Daredevil in No Way Home. So be curious to see if they do more. I think it's still, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like the canonicity of it is still like
I have heard it's not. I've heard most of those early MCU shows are considered not canon as of right now.
Okay. So interesting to see what they do with those characters as they kind of go along there.
Yeah. I guess it's me now, yeah?
Yas.
Okay. I hate how I have to say this because it's just dumb because it's not controversial, but it's controversial to everybody else. The actual... No, it's not actual, but Spider-Man 3. I got Spider-Man 3.
Fuck off. Are you serious?
I am serious, yeah. I love that movie. I've said it before when we talked about this stuff before. I love that movie. I was young. I remember I was in elementary school when that movie came out because I remember talking to my friend Tyler just before the weekend. He's like, Caleb, are you going to go see Spider-Man 3? I mean, we're like little elementary school kids. I don't understand, how maybe quote unquote bad this movie is compared to what it should have been and maybe the past two movies. But dude, hashtag that's my Venom right there, dude. Topher Grace Venom, I love that thing.
No.
Yes, dude.
That's the worst take.
No, I'm sorry. It's what I grew up on. He was so cool and creepy and badass, and you had Sandman, you had Hobgoblin, I guess is what I'm going to call him, and you had it was the early day No Way Home, just that. Dude, it was everything I wanted it to be. It's my favorite of the Spider-Man, at least the original Spider-Man movies. I look forward to watching it every time. Black suit Spider-Man, come on.
That was cool. That's a cool look, but
and I think I said this when we talked about it before. Don't get me wrong. There's some hardcore cringe moments in that movie, but as a kid, I didn't understand that. And then now that I do understand what it is, I just see it as a funny, cringy moment, and I don't let it affect the movie. It never affected me in a bad way. I like that movie. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, man. Loved it.
Gosh.
Spider-Man 3. Let's go.
And
I'm waiting on that Spider-Man 4.
Going to be the hottest take. We thought Age of Ultron was going to be the hottest take on his list.
We should have known.
You should have known. Dude, I'm waiting on that Spider-Man 4. Let's go.
It's not gonna happen, but
it's gonna happen.
You just can go watch Tobey Maguire play Charlie Chaplin.
Sam Raimi totally said he wants to do it.
Yeah, people say they want to do things all the time.
I'm just saying.
Justin Chatwin said there was going to be a Sand Saga movie.
He's still alive, so as far as I'm concerned, that could still happen.
He should never have been Goku.
He's the only Goku.
Stop. I would have rather have them gotten the freaking lady who the Japanese voice actress for Goku and just slapped her in the movie instead.
That would have been funny.
That would have been more enjoyable. Okay, my number 2 is a very my number 3 is a better version of Spider-Man also, and that is the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game from 2018. I think this is, I like this even more than I guess anything else that I've put on this list up to this point. Yeah. It's difficult to compare, to fairly and accurately compare a video game and a movie, because video games are going to be a little bit more immersive. Okay, a lot more immersive, right? Because I can judge this on the story, which is great. It has a great story. It's interesting. There's an origin story in there, but it's not the origin story for Peter Parker. It's the origin story for Miles Morales, which the DLC, Miles Morales DLC for this great game is great also. So you get to see this cool Sinister Six. You're kind of playing as this experienced, established Spider-Man at this point. but still running into all sorts of new challenges and enemies. And as Bailey mentioned, it's got a very compelling story for Doc Ock in here as well. So it does the heroes right, it does the villains right. It's just awesome. And then, the story alone is great, but then the gameplay is so freaking good. I mean, sometimes like I would get into that game and I would just like swing for like 5 straight minutes and just do nothing, but just like web tricks and just swinging in between buildings. Like it's awesome. It's top of the line mechanics and gameplay. A lot of times in games like this, the fighting can get repetitive, but I never got bored. With the fighting mechanics, it didn't seem too button mashy, and it never really wore me out. I am greatly anticipating the Spider-Man 2, which is supposedly supposed to be coming out in 2023. So I'm looking forward to the follow-up for this game.
That's gonna have Venom in it, right?
I think so. And it might have the potential for co-op, because at this point you've got two Spider-Men. You've got Miles and you've got Peter Parker. So maybe a potential for co-op. I'd be curious to see how that works. But that's my number 3, Spider-Man 2018, the second best game of 2018.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, yeah, that sequel, I don't even think Venom is like the main villain that people are talking about. Like, people are talking about him more, but I think the main villain is Kraven the Hunter or something.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. Because like the audio, like the dialogue that you hear in the beginning is like, I hunt the greatest game, or something like that. And then you get the Venom reveal at the end. But people are like, that's Kraven the Hunter talking about hunting. It's like, okay.
Oh, also, you get the whole Harry Osborn like mystery sprinkled through the whole game, which is really interesting. So I think maybe there's potential for a Green Goblin-esque enemy there. And then also you get a really kick-ass version of Taskmaster. And Caleb, I know you haven't played the game, but you'll just be like, every once in a while, he's kind of like a random side mission or like a random encounter. So like you'll be swinging and you'll be like on your way to like a mission or something, and then out of nowhere you freaking get snagged like by the legs and like pulled down onto a building, and Taskmaster's like, hey, I'm gonna kill you. And it's just like, it really caught me off guard, and it happens I think you fight him like 3 or 4 times or something like that. But and he gets harder. He learns.
And he wasn't a woman.
No, I mean, well, you
What
never
the
see
heck?
them. You never see them de-helmeted. So I guess I can't assume Taskmaster's gender.
I was gonna say, one of my favorite clips of the Taskmaster thing, I think it's the most viral one, is just he gets snagged, dropped down, and like right as soon as the fight begins, like he's still like talking and giving dialogue, and the guy the guy playing a Spider-Man just goes up and just punches him, and he just falls off the building as he's still going through his dialogue, and it's like, okay, I win, and he just starts swinging again, leaves.
Poor guy.
Right. Okay. My number 2.
Number
two. Take a wild guess. There are 2 options here that you guys probably already know about.
Is it something
Well,
stupid?
he mentioned
I don't think so.
he mentioned earlier that he said X-Men First Class was his first X-Men movie up there.
That's true.
So he probably
And I think
has...
he also dogged on the original trilogy, so it's probably a newer one. Days of Future Past.
I think he's got Logan on the list.
Oh,
somewhere.
Logan. Yeah, it's going to be Logan. You're right.
I was going to say, Zach is correct in that. Logan is my number 2. It's a superhero film unlike any other for me. It's
Really?
a Western superhero film, or Western inspired. Just good stuff. And I honestly wasn't expecting Charles Xavier to have, well, do the best that he's done. Or I don't know how to describe it. Basically, I like Charles more in this movie than I did in any of the other X-Men movies, barring First Class.
I think I might agree with you on that.
Yeah, right? Like,
Yeah,
Charles otherwise is just kind of like, he's in a chair and he's just like, oh, I'm going to look out and see the other mutants. And then he just doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Like, in X2, he does, like, start the, killing everyone on Earth kind of thing, killing all the mutants.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, like the most significant thing that he does is die and explode in X3.
And then Logan, isn't it like he like is old and suffering, and he like
He's old
accidentally
and
like
he
used his
like
powers to kill everybody?
yeah,
He
he's
like killed
so
like all the mutants
unstable,
or
and
something
it's
like that.
kind of it's scary. Like they have that really good scene inside of the casino where he's having like one of these episodes, and Logan has to go through. Like everyone is frozen, but Logan is fighting through it and just
Yeah.
stabbing dudes through the head as they're just standing there, like they
Yeah.
can't do anything. And it's like, oh my god! Like it's the movie is so good, and it's a perfect send off to Logan, to Wolverine. I just after years and years and years with this character, I think this is the best way you can kind of give Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman a send off. However, Patrick Stewart, maybe it wasn't a send off for the character. We don't know.
Yeah.
Huge Jackman.
Yeah. Like even then, we don't know if it's Hugh Jackman's last stint as Wolverine. He could totally come back if he wants to, but
yeah.
Anyway,
I've seen it one time.
I think I've seen it twice.
And I probably saw it when it came out in 2017, and it was good. I really liked it, but I can't remember much about it. There's a part he's driving a limo and he beats the shit out of some guys in the limo. There's the little girl who's kind of like One Claw Wolverine.
Yeah.
And that's about all I really remember. So it's one that I would definitely want to go back and watch another time, but I've just never got back around to doing it.
No, I recommend watching it again. It's
not
so
my
good.
favorite X-Men movie. It's pretty middle ground of the X-Men movies for me personally. But it's fun. Like I said, I do think I agree with Bailey. I think it's Charles Xavier's like best stuff in there.
Utilization.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool, and I liked the story of it. I thought the story was fine. It was just I don't know. It was very deserty. I guess I just don't really like the desert setting as much.
I don't like sand.
I don't like sand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an iconic movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, Caleb, let's move on. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is No Way Home, the Spider-Man movie. No Way Home.
The Spider-Man. Oh, as opposed to
any other movie called No Way Home. Just to clarify. Yeah, No Way Home. I mean, it's damn good, is what I can say. I mean, we've talked about it plenty. Green Goblin Goat, good movie. It's got the 3 Spider-Man, so it's got Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and then the best, Tobey Maguire, all coming in. It was just fun seeing 3 Spider-Mans whoop around. I could have asked for a little bit more villain dialogue with a few of the villains, but other than that, I thought it was great.
It is. It is great. It is pretty damn good movie.
Mm-hmm.
My number 2 is I got Avengers Infinity War here. The most ambitious crossover of its time. I always like to make jokes about things being a more ambitious crossover than Infinity War.
Yeah, I've seen those memes.
Yeah, those are some of my favorites. Like when freaking Kim Jong-un finally met with the president of South Korea. Everybody's like, it's the most ambitious crossover since Infinity War. But yeah, it's great. You get to see all the characters. This, like Bailey had said earlier, it almost feels like this was the movie we'd all been waiting for. Not to say that End Game was not good, obviously being on my list here, but like this was the one. Like this is where you get to see all those characters. You get you get the epic climactic battle there. You get some great lines there. You get to see all sorts of fun, kooky collab. I don't know if collabs isn't necessarily the right word, but mashups of characters. Like you get to see the first sprinkle of Thor with the Guardians, right?
Yeah.
You get Doctor Strange and Tony Stark, who are just like instantly great on screen together there. Like they trade barbs because they're both just egocentric. They love themselves. They're just assholes, and it's just fun seeing them on screen together. It's awesome. Thanos is great. Like Bailey had said earlier, like you kind of like to a degree, like he's kind of like the pseudo protagonist. You're kind of like, oh shit, did Thanos do anything wrong? He got it? Yeah, I don't blame you, man. And then it's got like the most devastating scene in the MCU, where the best Spider-Man disintegrates in the
I didn't
arms
think
of
Toby was in that movie.
Tony Stark there. So it's great. It's awesome. I'm not really good with words in the English language here, but it is a great movie. I think
vernacular.
words hard. Yeah. So Infinity War #2. What more can you say?
What more is there to say?
You do get normal plumber Chris Pratt there, getting everybody goddamn killed, just unhinged. Stop. You're ruining it for everyone, Chris Pratt, just like you do everything else. Like, don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
I don't like the way Mario said "so long, gay Bowser." It felt derogatory.
That's going to be the only line that he actually says like Mario, so he can low-key microaggress people.
I would get the vibe that Chris Pratt is like swinging Bowser around. He's like, "So long, gay Bowser." He emphasizes gay, and everyone in the audience is like, I don't know.
Or he just takes it one step further.
He's going to say the F word.
He just goes on.
So long, Bowser, and just sends him off.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what did he just say?
I thought this movie was PG.
And people are like, but he's not homophobic. And then you go to the IMDb page and they're just like, Chris Pratt improvised that one slur. And he wouldn't do any other takes, so they just had to go with it.
I really wanted to demean Bowser. I'm not a homophobe, I just don't agree with the lifestyle.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. In other news, Bailey's #1, to no surprise, is Into the Spider-Verse. I've talked about this.
Shut the fuck
I've talked about it plenty. Oh, did you just play the Zach audio?
Yeah.
That was actually me.
No, that was actually him.
Oh. Yeah, no one's surprised. Into the Spider-Verse, my #1. I honestly just think this film proves that animation is the way to take comic book movies. It's able to do everything that you want to do and more. Nothing more to say on it. It's perfect. Love it. Caleb, what's your #1? Is it going to be another hot take?
No, I don't think so. My #1, I think, is Infinity War.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, no,
There we go. Well, not bad.
yeah. Calm down, guys. Calm down. Yeah, no. I mean, you guys have already talked about it, but yeah, I think I liked it. Obviously, I did. I liked it more than End Game. Just the way. I mean, you guys already said like the way that movie ended. You're like, obviously, another movie is going to come, but it was just such a jaw-dropping ending, and it's just like very impactful. And I love the snap. I already said it with the regular Avengers. How like. I love seeing more of the blip and of the snap. You like see this people coming back in Spider-Man and stuff like that. I think that's a really cool thing, and that whole movie is just badass. It's an amazing movie. So Infinity War, we've talked about it enough.
We have, yeah,
it's a great movie. Yeah, I think it's better than Endgame. I like Endgame, but you guys are right. This was the movie that it was kind of building towards, even though Endgame is Endgame.
Uncontroversial take there, Caleb. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Spider-Man. My maybe. I don't think it's controversial, but it's not topping a lot of people's lists. But I think it's usually pretty high up on a lot of people's lists. My #1, my personal favorite MCU movie, is Thor Ragnarok. I just think this is the one for me, and this is why I'm so excited for Love and Thunder. This was just like, and we said earlier, I don't think either Thor is bad, right? The first Thor, Dark World, those are fine. Mm-hmm. But this is exactly what I think Thor needed, because he was certainly, up to that point, like the most stale of the Avengers so far. And this just made him a lot more fun, And I think there were probably some people who were like, "Oh, I'd want Thor to be a little more serious." But I thought this was just great.
Yeah.
It has some great action moments. It has a lot of really good, character moments for Thor. The parts with him and Odin. When Mjolnir gets destroyed. And it was just a fun, refreshing new spin there for Thor. It was almost kind of like a soft reboot of the character. It sets up some more of the, it builds some more with him and Loki's relationship, and I don't know what else to really to say beyond that. It's probably, if I'm gonna go back and just pick a Marvel movie, I'm gonna go back and watch this one because it makes me laugh. Um, Bruce Banner Hulk is in there, and I think Mark Ruffalo is really good in that regard as well. I think Valkyrie is a great character addition too. I really love Valkyrie. I'm curious to see like what kind of role she's going to have in the next movie. But yeah, it's my favorite. Was certainly the most surprised, like most pleasantly surprised I've been with a movie when it first came out too. So that's my number one, Thor Ragnarok.
Quick thing regarding Thor Ragnarok. Did you guys hear about the Make-A-Wish kid regarding that movie?
No.
You haven't heard that?
No.
There's a kid from Make-A-Wish who was on set the day they were filming like the Thor fights.
Oh, I have heard this.
Yeah, the friend from work line, he coined that. He basically,
Oh, nice.
Taika or Chris came over to him and was like, what should Thor say in this moment? And he was like, he's a friend from work. And they're like, oh, cool. And so they did that, and it wound up being in the trailer, in the movie, made the final cut.
That's fun.
Question: what do you think happened to that kid?
I
feel like
hoping
this is a leading question, Bailey.
It is kind of a leading question. It's kind of fascinating.
Did he die?
No,
I feel like that's what you want me to say, is that he died.
Right.
That's what I mean when I say it's a leading question.
Honestly, though, a lot of people assumed that he did die, but he did not. He actually made a recovery.
That's good.
And his name is Darcy, and he found me on TikTok, and we're friends. No, his name is Darcy. Like,
he actually died. You're making this all up.
No, I'm not. He's actually he actually has like a little bit of a following on TikTok and
Bailey, don't make fun
Twitter
of a dead kid.
His name is Darcy. It's at Darcy CTRD. He has like the proof and everything and all that stuff. He's got pinned videos and all that good stuff. Yeah, he's still around and he's still there. He's still kicking, doing awesome stuff.
It's really rude to make fun of a dead kid like that.
That's pretty fucked up, Bailey.
It's not.
It's not. It's not rude to make fun of a dead kid.
Well, because he's not dead.
That's the most controversial take we've had today.
I think so.
Oh boy. Anyway, if anyone wants to follow him, his @ is at darkCSEETRD.
Where's that at?
TikTok.
Oh. Probably not, then.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I'm just saying that for the viewers, so if anyone wants
hear that? You hear that, Dad? Yeah, okay. Well, there rounds out the top 10. We have
What the? Oh, I thought that was a car crash. It was a crowd cheering. I thought it was like, oh.
It kind of did have a little bit of a car crash sound there, didn't it? But yeah, that was our top 10. We'll have lovely The Other Thing, Moon Knight next week.
And chunks of meaty bits.
What the hell was that?
That was him. Yeah, even in that 4th episode, they're like looking at a tomb, and he's like, "Oh, there's little chunks of meaty bits." I just thought that was so funny. I grabbed that soundbite.
I wasn't totally sure what he was saying there.
Little chunks
That's good,
of meaty
though.
bits.
Little chunks of meaty bits.
I love it.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, Moon Knight getting better, improving as we go on here.
Will its 42-minute long finale live up to?
Oh yeah, here's a shout out for Dad. Dad shared that with me. It was like he shared it. It's clickbaity as hell article.
Oh, I saw that. I was like, what is it? 3 minutes?
It's like, oh, Moon Knight setting live action Marvel TV show record length, and I was like, record runtime, and I was like, oh shit, are they gonna do like an hour-and-a-half episode here?
Right.
And it turns out it was a record for shortest episode. I was like, oh, why did you do this to me? So that was certainly a little triggering to me.
Yeah.
But yes, upcoming stuff in order here. We'll have Moon Knight. We'll have Cutter Strange, and then we'll have what is bound to be a disaster of an episode. I'm already looking forward to how terrible it's going to be. But the week before Kenobi drops, we'll be getting the highly requested, highly recommended Star Wars movie rankings episode, which is just going to be... I'm going to be upset by the end of it, I'm sure. So, we also got a little contest built in for that, where we're going to try to predict each other's prediction, or predict each other's picks, which I think will be fun to see how well we do on that.
Right.
It's going to be a disaster.
It is going to be a disaster, but if you don't get my number one right, you're not part of my family.
Rogue One.
Like, if you can't guess what the best one is.
I'm honest,
Solo.
I don't know off the top of my head what your number one would be.
What?
It's Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, wait, we're talking like Star Wars movies?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking I had like the MCU projects. I was like thinking all Star Wars projects. I'm like, what, Rebels maybe? Okay,
Oh,
but movies,
Of course,
yeah.
Rebels is his number one overall.
Rebels superior.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll kill it there and call it a day.